Hello, 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 and welcome back to another gay book review, or MM book review. I don't know what I'm calling these anymore. But this time we're talking about Love Means No Shame by Andrew Gray. I got this one on a whim, the same time I got the Tin Star when I went ahead of the March trip that I took in March. I got it because it was a similar book to the Tin Star, and I will definitely agree with that statement made by Thrift Books that it is a similar book in setting and like kind of themes, if you will. Um, but as far as content goes, I definitely prefer the Tin Star over this one. But before we get into like my review and rankings, I just want to let you guys know if I give these books like lower stars, it doesn't mean I necessarily do not enjoy them unless I explicitly say that. Not like anybody's mentioned it, but just for my own sake, because I did rank this one a little bit lower than the Tin Star. I would say probably a lot lower than the Tin Star. No, a little bit lower is correct, actually. But I don't want it to say anything bad about the authors. They do something I am trying to work on myself, which is write a fucking book. So yeah, I definitely recommend all these books. There, if I say that I do not recommend it, then I have reasons for it. But I definitely would recommend this if you are one who enjoys small town romances, or even just small town kind of like rancher romances, or just gay romances in general with a little bit of drama, family drama, interpersonal drama, stuff like that. So moving into the story overview, character summary, if you will, spoilers abound and ahead for the book. I won't be touching on every single little thing, but when I discuss the characters and I discuss the, story overview as like major bullet points, which are somewhat derived from the back of the book, but also somewhat derived from the actual book itself, just be aware that if you are one who doesn't enjoy spoilers, you could just skip to the end. I wish I could put in time cards. I don't have the time or patience to do that. I probably should, but yeah. So let's start off with the characters. So we have Geoff and Eli. So Geoff starts off as a traditional party boy. He goes home with a different man basically every night. So much to the chagrin of his job sometimes, where he's sometimes late for work and sometimes, winds up and has to leave in the morning just to make it to work and stuff like that. But he is not in the traditional party boy stereotype, because he does, when push comes to shove, go back and take care of his family. So like he had a loving and accepting family in with his father and his then partner Len. Obviously his father had a relationship with a woman, and that's how Geoff became a human. But at some point the father came to his realization that he is living a lie and he wants to be with himself. And he I don't want to say the wife dies. The wife might die though. But he finds Len and they start living together as a happy couple. But Geoff, when his father passes, he takes charge of the farm and is quite adept at managing it, as he's an accountant and he works in a financial sphere. So he has that background to be able to run things smoothly, at least from a money sense. And he does, with his love interest Eli, tries to respect the boss employee dynamic despite the attraction to Eli. He's made it abundantly clear throughout his own like running narrative, if you will, in his head, that he can't dote and love Eli because he's now his employee, and that wouldn't look right to the other employees that he's hired and stuff like that. Eli, though, on the other hand, is a sweet summer child. He is from the Amish community on a Rumspringa, and he is literally probably my favorite character in this entire book. He has a lot of real fear based on how the Amish view the English, which is the non-Amish people, and as well as being LGBT, with not just his fear of being shunned, but having his family, as a result of that, being shunned. He is hardworking and stubborn in that aspect. He's not wanting to break or like relax or stop working until he's completed that job. He's up early. He stays up late. He is very dedicated and doesn't want to take advantage of, if you will, of Geoff's kindness by hiring him on to work for the farm. So that way he has an actual place to stay and not sleeping in the barn, and, can actually provide for himself while he's on his year break from the Amish community. And then as their relationship develops, and I find this really cute, he courts Geoff based on how Amish men court their love interests. And again, I'm not from the Amish community. I have no references for how the Amish community actually operates because I've never been there. I only see them through media or books, and specifically media that portrays them not always in the best light, aka Paranormal Activity. But I like their relationship. I like their dynamic. And it was a coincidence that I was also reading another gay Amish love story when I came across this and bought this off Thrift Books. Shout out to Thrift Books, non-sponsored, but if they could sponsor me, I would love that. But I will definitely recommend that you check out Thrift Books for these kind of books because they're a lot cheaper and it's secondhand and they've always been a decent quality. I've never had any issues with them. But anyway, this is not an ad for Thrift Books today. Some of the side characters that we'll go through, we have Len, Geoff's father's husband, so tongue-tied. He also works on the farm. We have the trilogy of aunts, Aunt Mari, the good aunt, Aunt Janelle, the Karen, and Aunt Victoria nearly achieved Karen transformation, but was stopped in the process and is now on the good aunt side. And then we have Joey, the kid who's been working on the farm for a little over a month, and Geoff takes him and Eli under his wing, per se, to get them geared up for actual proper work on the farm, because Joey's father, I believe, has passed, and it's just now their mother kind of trying to provide for the family. And he understands how hard that is when she's, working but not able to do enough. So he does take, Joey and Eli out to get them fitted. Eli, because he literally came from nothing. He doesn't have that much when he left the Amish community for the Rumspringa. And then Joey, because he's a child. So as far as the story overview, if you will, so Geoff is living up life in the city, countless one-night stands, as I mentioned, when tragedy strikes with his father's passing. It's not something that is unexpected, as he knew his father was sick, but it was more unexpected in the sense of the timing of it. So he's returning to the familial farm. He finds it in a similar state to when he left, and he joins with his father's partner, Len. And then one day, while tending to the farm, he finds a young Amish man named Eli sleeping in the barn, and Geoff hires him on immediately, out of the goodness of his heart, if you can say, but also, maybe budding attraction, if you will. Geoff initially does not want to pursue anything with Eli despite the attraction he feels, so when Eli begins to court him with the traditional Amish courting methods, Geoff finally admits his feelings and they begin to pursue an actual relationship. And then gossip-hungry family members threaten the happy budding couple, and the angst gets real good from there. I don't want to spoil what happens past that point, because I think it really hits you hard, and I think this is why in hindsight, should probably have ranked this book a little bit higher than I did, but I enjoyed this. I could not get enough of this book despite the rating, and I really enjoyed it. So let's talk about some tropes, because it's trope time. So obviously forbidden love, because Eli falls for Geoff despite what it would do to his family should they find out. Being gay in the Amish is not accepted, and this is for me not knowing anything about it other than the fact that they're a very religious group of people, and yeah, that's the only thing I could think of to say for that, is that, yeah, it's their religious beliefs that homosexuality is a sin, that because if it were to be found out that Eli is gay, his family would be shunned from the community and would have nothing. They'd have no support structure. They'd be on their own. They wouldn't have anything to kind of support them. So Amish life / customs, they mentioned some courting methods and stuff like that. I don't know anything about the Amish besides what I watched from videos and maybe Googled this morning. I don't know what the typical Amish beliefs in life are like, so I like how this tackles the issue here in a way that doesn't vilify the Amish, because I don't have any problem with them as a gay man not being from the Amish, I guess. But to me, it's just a whole nother world, It's like another country within a country where it's yeah, they live in America, but they don't really follow the typical norms of America. They are more traditional in their beliefs and their religion, and they're more community focused, which is, their business. It's how they want to live their life. I have no say in it. Am I the one to say it's wrong? No. They may say I'm wrong, but, doesn't mean I get to do the same to them. So I like how it tackles it here, where it doesn't vilify the Amish, and it more portrays them in a, yeah, it may not be right by your standard, but by their standard, they're just living their life that they want to live. And because of my actions, it doesn't just reflect on me, it reflects on the family and the community. So I feel like that is handled very well. As someone who is ignorant of the Amish, I could be completely wrong here. I could also be completely in the right. I don't know. That's just my statements. But I love a good old family drama. Geoff's aunts are witches, well, at least 2 of them are, and deserve the worst. They stir up drama and spread news about Eli around the town. So yeah, it's definitely some family drama from basically the get-go after the father passes, which I enjoy. As a person who loves the drama, who doesn't want to be in the drama, just absorbing the drama, I really enjoyed this one. I couldn't say enough about this drama without spoiling the rest of it, because again, I don't want the big kind of climax crux to be like a thing here. And I did that in the Tin Star, and I don't regret that. It's just more so for the Tin Star, it's less of a shock when it happens. It's a nice build up to it. But yeah, this one, it's a nice book. It's a really good book. So with that kind of out of the way, let's go through some rankings as per usual, and as I've devised. We have 4 categories and then the overall score. So we'll touch on the plot, the characters, the writing style, and the spicy scenes. Because you know what good book doesn't have a good sex scene, or multiple sex scenes? So as far as the plot goes, it's a 3-star, 3.5 star for me. Absolutely, I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed how it got set up with Eli coming from the Amish community on his Rumspringa, his year abroad, if you will, and going to like live among the English for that year. And he doesn't even make it that far. He's in the same general area, but like distanced a bit. Because they mentioned that his father would come to town to pick up supplies or do something, and that was the one time that they got to use the car, which he never got to use. So it was definitely like he was like a kid in a candy shop when he first got on the truck with Geoff and got to be able to go places. So I do enjoy that. I do enjoy the plot overall. So a solid 3.5 stars. The characters, though, is where I think the book shines. Between the aunts, Joey, Len, Geoff, and Eli, obviously the love interest, and then just the people around town that we kind of get little vignettes into when they're off getting their supplies and stuff. I think the character work is solid in this book. It's not on the same tier, in my opinion, as the Tin Star, and not to make direct comparisons, but these two books I read almost identically back to back, and then they're nearly not identical, but they're in small towns and dealing with small town beliefs, if in a different way, just due to the extension of the Amish, if you will, because there's not much hatred in this town, in this ranch town, for being gay, but there is more because Eli's from the Amish. So characters I definitely really enjoyed. The writing style is a 3-star for me. I didn't have anything wrong with the writing style, but it at times, actually no, there was a couple typos, and I don't know if it was just because of the way the book was published or if it hadn't been fully edited. But they called Len Les for some reason in a couple sections, and there was some small spelling issues throughout. Nothing major, but when I read a name and I'm like, who's this? And then I realize, oh, it's the other character. That like kind of threw me for a minute. So again, if it didn't have those, I'd probably put it at a 4-star, because it's, again, almost on par with a Tin Star, in my opinion. The spicy scenes, though, I will rank a little bit higher than the Tin Star. I felt the chemistry and the like desire between Eli and Geoff more than I did the characters in the Tin Star, Jamie and Ethan. So I enjoyed both of them immensely. I think the Tin Star ekes this book out a little bit more. And with the direct comparisons, let's continue with the overall ranking. This is a 3.5 star as well. Did I say 4.5 star for spicy scenes? I can't count. That's 3.5 stars. But I think this book overall is a 3.5 stars. I gave the Tin Star a 4 star, so I think this fits in my mind. It's similar, and I enjoyed both of them. I just think the Tin Star, maybe it's because of the way I wanted to read it for decades, but I think the Tin Star ekes it out just a little bit more, and I will definitely recommend both. So speaking of recommendations, no surprise here that there is one for the Tin Star. If you like Cowboy Romance, definitely read the Tin Star. It's less Amish derived, but more small town ideals and bigots derived in terms of the conflicts, but it's a similar-ish vein of, forbidden love, if you will, where these guys should be able to love, but because of the town that they're in, they're viewed as other and can't fully, be out safely for either personal safety repercussions or family repercussions that may be having an extended reach beyond that. But if you liked this Amish romance, I would definitely recommend A Forbidden Rumspringa. It's 2 Amish boys who fall in love, or men who fall in love, and it's gripping. It's by Kira Andrews. I can't say how it ends because I haven't finished it, but from what I've read, it's about halfway through. I really enjoyed this one. It's a solid book. I have loved with the characters. I'm in love with the pacing. I love the slow burn aspect of it. I'm a sucker for a slow burn. So I really enjoyed it. I couldn't recommend this one enough, but both of these books are in the same vein of small town, rural settings. And that's, as someone who's living in a small town, rural setting, just fills me with joy because it's like I can see myself not falling in love with these books because I'm not a ranch hand and I'm not Amish, but like I could see love happening in, these kind of more, not foreboding, but like unrealistic places where you think you might be the only one who's gay, So we have an end card. I know in the last video when I talked about the Tin Star, I didn't have it ready, but now I do. So you can find me on Twitch. I stream 7 nights a week under the handle Shirada Sky, which is now basically everything. I'm on Twitter at Shirada Sky if you find me there. It's everything I do is somewhat not safe for work, if you will, but I recommend just checking me out if you enjoyed either my voice, my content, my jokes, my humor, etc. And then I'm also on Patreon. You guys don't have to donate or subscribe or whatever you call it, pledge, if you will. I have a full-time job. It's just if you guys want to help out. And like my computer is on its last legs. It freezes occasionally, and I'm not trying to like garner sympathy or anything like that. I'm just at a point where I'm like, if you guys want to help me get a new computer, feel free. You guys can get early access to content. I'll post these videos about 3 or 4 days before they go up on the weekends. You can get access to polls where you can like vote on which book I should do next or anything like that. The tier starts at $1 a month and goes up to $15. $15 is if you really want me to read a book, you can subscribe to that for 1 month. Basically pay for the book-ish, and then I'll read it and then probably be making the next review. Obviously, I do these in batches, so it may be a couple weeks and or a month before I can get to yours because I obviously got to read the book as well. But yeah, if you guys want me to read a book, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Feel free to do all the YouTube things like, comment, and subscribe. Again, if you want to share these with your friends, I would really appreciate it. It helps me get the word of mouth out and see if people like this, I really enjoy talking about these gay romance novels, and I hope you guys enjoy listening to me talk about them. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend and week ahead. I know this is probably going to be going up on a weekend, so I'll see you guys next weekend as we talk about another gay romance novel, perhaps on the darker side of things. But I hope you guys have a wonderful night and weekend. I'm so used to Twitch streaming. I'm having a wonderful night. So have a wonderful week, friends, and I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy.